Yesterday we covered meta-analysis introduction and orientation. You will get the recording. You'll get recording. I think Sarah sent the recording, the drive link in the group. You can check out. Okay. So yesterday we covered what is meta-analysis, what is PICO for meta-analysis, and three strategies to hunt for a topic. Because the most difficult part in doing meta-analysis is finding a topic. Meta-analysis is so much saturated, and without original studies, without trials, without other retrospective cohort studies, you cannot conduct a meta-analysis, and those studies are limited. And uh, early career researchers are more focusing on meta-analysis, network meta-analysis, systematic reviews. So the situation is insane, and that's why it's getting more and more difficult with time to find a viable topic for meta-analysis. So I shared simple three strategies to find a topic, and you'll get the recording. You'll get a PDF of all the outlines that I shared. After finding a topic, then we transition to screening. Uh, Once we get the topic, we make a PICO of our topic. What is our population? What is our intervention? What is to what we are comparing our intervention? Is it a placebo or is it another drug? Like, for example, is it if I say prednisone versus corticosteroids in lupus nephritis? So I'm comparing our cyclophosphamide with steroids in lupus-inducing nephritis. So I am comparing cyclophosphamide with steroids, and my patients are uh, obviously nephritic patients. So this is my PICO, and the next part, the next step is to make a search strategy of your topic, of your PICO, and then upload the search strategy on different databases, PubMed, Cochrane, Scopus, Google Scholar, and download all the articles. So how we make a search strategy and how we uh, upload the articles on uh, screening tools. So Dr. Ghazali Saak, she is very well published. We have collaborated on more than 20 meta-analyses in 2025 alone. She is very well published. She is very intelligent. So she'll be covering how to make a search strategy, how to search on different databases, and then how to upload those articles on screening tools like Rayyan, and how to proceed with primary screening and then secondary screening. And then the day after tomorrow, we'll be switching to data extraction. So we have Dr. Ghazali Saak, and she'll be proceeding with search strategy.
Hello everyone, it's Ghazal Ishaq. Am I audible to everyone? Okay, for instance, if we are using, if we, for instance, as Dr. Chakar said that if we are comparing cyclophosphamide with steroids in lupus nephritis or any kind of nephropathic disease, how to make search strategy? First of all, you have to go to PubMed, okay, PubMed, and then you just have to proceed with all the keywords like cyclophosphamide along with the other keywords, like what is the alternative for cyclophosphamide. If you don't know, just Google it. For instance, if we are using cyclophosphamide, okay, if you don't know what is cyclophosphamide, or just simple Google it, like it's cyclophosphamide or also known as a cytophosphane, okay, and you can just search more about it. Okay, for instance, it is cytosine. So you just have to copy all the words, for instance, cyclophosphamide, okay, and just you have to put all into PubMed. Okay, as everybody know, cyclophosphamide, if there is alternative same word, or let's say it's synonym, you will always use or, okay, simple or, okay. If it's different word other than cyclophosphamide like steroid, you'll always use and to combine different keywords, okay. So cyclophosphamide or, because we are using similar term. So for instance, if we are using this word, so you'll go to PubMed again and then you just paste it, okay, and or For instance, if we are using this word, just copy it and just simply paste it. Okay. And then for instance, that how much number of like 85,295 results are appearing in the PubMed. Okay. But we don't want that much number because obviously we can't screen them all. So, and for instance, if we are using steroids too, now steroids is a different word other than cyclophosphamide. So we'll use and, okay, and we'll just use steroids. And if you don't know what is steroid or what is the alternative for steroid, just Google it. Simple. Okay. For instance, if these are all the alternative words for steroids. Okay. Now, for instance, you can use corticosteroid, you can use steroid or the steroid hormones or all those words. Okay. So we're using steroids or sex hormones or corticosteroids or anabolic hormones. Okay, so for instance, if I am using all the words, so for the words which are like steroids is too common word and it's almost used in every kind of research, every kind of, RCTs and all those researches. So the results are much larger now. So okay, I hope you all know how to make such a strategy. So if you don't know, it's okay. So just know that if you are using similar words, for instance, cyclophosphamide or cytoxan, okay, or cytophosphane, you'll always use or in between, okay, or because these are similar words, and if you have to use different words, you'll always use and. Okay, so for instance, if I'm doing some research on effect of transcatheter aortic valve replacement in diabetic mellitus. Okay, so I'll use OR. For instance, this is an example. Transcatheter aortic valve replacement or TAVR, which is actually a short form of this, or transcatheter aortic valve implantation. Okay, or TAVI or aortic valve implantation. So we are using different words in just in bracket, okay, because you are using or you'll separate them in brackets, and then when you'll use different keywords which are not TAVR or not TAVI, you'll always use and, okay, in between them, and then again bracket, and this is like for instance, I'm
Ghazal?
doing, yep. Okay, continue. So if we are using and for another words, keywords, okay, so this is diabetes. If we are using like my population was diabetic population, especially focusing on type 2. Okay, so this is type diabetes mellitus or DM or non-insulin dependent diabetes, because we are especially focusing on type 2 diabetes, just non-insulin dependent, okay, or type 2 diabetes or type 2 DM. Fine. So this is how search strategy is made. I I always use ChatGPT for just confirming that मैं कि ठीक कर रही हूँ कि नहीं ठीक कर रही, सही है. But I always say everyone के, yeah, it's fine to use ChatGPT, but do not completely rely on ChatGPT as it makes so many mistakes. ठीक है. uh, People just use ChatGPT for even the number, okay, how many numbers are appearing on PubMed. So do not rely that much on ChatGPT, but yeah, you can always help get help from the ChatGPT. Fine. So for instance, if I'm using this search strategy, okay, because I have already done a research on this. So for instance, if I have made the search strategy, a simple rough search strategies, okay, and I've copied it, and then for instance, if I'm pasting this on PubMed, okay, let's see how many numbers are appearing on PubMed. Fine. For instance, 503 articles are appearing. I haven't applied any kind of filter, okay, like I haven't applied any time filter or or any kind of filter like full text, it's okay, just leave them, or any kind of meta-analysis. Some researchers say that it is fine to apply randomized control trials or clinical trials or meta-analysis, but I never take something like that. Just do not apply any kind of filters. Just go with what numbers are appearing in the PubMed. Fine. So, for instance, if these numbers are appearing on PubMed, um, okay, just let me know in the comment section that if everybody is getting my point or not, or if anybody have any questions, just ask. Okay, if nobody has any questions, so we can proceed with that. So if anybody has questions, just let me know. Okay, so for instance, I have applied this search strategy, okay, in the PubMed, and I'll just now how to upload all the things in Rayyan, right? Now, the question is, what is Rayyan? Basically, Rayyan is a free tool, okay? For instance, now this is Rayyan. What is Rayyan? Rayyan is a free online tool that makes the screening process very easy. Okay, it's used for systemic reviews as well as meta-analysis. And first step is to go to Rayyan, just Google Rayyan and it'll appear. Just go to Rayyan website and you have to create an account. Okay, you have to create account. You have to sign in Rayyan, and then if you have already signed in and you have already made the account, you have to log in. Okay, and because it's already logged in for me, so this is how Rayyan appears. Okay, here is a home page, here's your home, and all the researches which you have worked on will appear here. Okay, all the active reviews will appear here, and all those which you have archived, which you have already worked on, will appear here. Okay, so for instance, and now for instance, if I'm using Rayyan for the very first time, you'll always go here. Here's your home. Here are the, if you want to go to archive reviews, just go here. But if you want to create a new review, here is the thing. Just go to it. Okay, create review. Now, for in order to create a new review, you have to just put all these domains. Okay, you have to review your title. For instance, my title is um, एक मिनट, impact of PABR in diabetic patients. For instance, this is the name of my review title. Okay, now you'll go in the second column. Just for instance, if I'm doing systemic review, because there is no such option for meta-analysis, just go for systemic review because we are kind of doing such things. Just biomedical, okay, just proceed. We are. For instance, if I have already made my Rayyan account here and I have already done all the things which I have taught you, okay, so you'll just, for instance, if I've already done so now, so you'll always go to PubMed, okay, and what you have applied all the search strategy over here, what you have just to do to send to, because you are seeing just three options here: save, email, or send to. Okay, in order to put all these things into Rayyan, put all those 503 articles into Rayyan, you just have to option send to. Okay, and then go to, not this, send to citation manager. Okay, okay, what I have done, like I have put all the search strategies I have already made for my meta-analysis. Okay, so I'll put the search strategy over here in the PubMed and I'll see what results are appearing. For instance, 503 articles are appearing for me for this meta-analysis. Okay, so what I'll do next is to go to this option, Cento. Go to Cento, and next option is go to citation manager always. Okay, now what other people do, like they just create file. Okay, but do not go to this option instantly. Just make sure one thing, that you are selecting all the results, not all the results on this page, because maximum 10 articles will be on this page. So you are not screening the 10 articles only, but you are screening whole 503 articles. Okay, so go to all results. and then you'll create file. Okay, the file will download automatically. Okay, so here's your file. Okay, for instance, just go to Rayyan and you'll upload here because I don't know, somehow it's not showing me. For instance, if I have uploaded all these articles, there's an option of upload because I don't know if it is demanding some kind of upgrade for this Rayyan, so I could not do it. So sorry for that. So now if we have uploaded all the articles into Rayyan, there's option to upload. Just upload that file simply. Okay, so you'll automatically there will be the articles will be uploaded here. There were just 503, and because the different study strategy was used for this meta-analysis. So for instance, let's assume there were 478 articles for this meta-analysis. Okay, so if there are any kind of duplicates, because sometimes यूं होता है कि there are you import articles from PubMed, you articles from Scopus and Cochrane and all those databases simultaneously. So sometimes you'll get duplicates, so you'll resolve these duplicates those similar articles होते हैं, you have to choose one between them. ठीक है, if there are multiple articles, still you have to choose one among them. Okay, so for instance, I have just 478 articles. Okay, and okay, for instance, if I have 478 articles for this, for what sort of strategy I have made or what I have uploaded in Rayyan. So what you will do, for instance, if I'm the leader, मैंने बनाया है Rayyan, सब कुछ मैं हैंडल कर रही हूँ, and I want others to screen. ठीक है, मतलब ये है कि मैं खुद भी screen करूँगी, I'll screen too and others as well. ठीक है, so I'll just invite members here. So because I want everybody to screen, or I want limited number of people to screen. So because Ryan is a screening tool basically. So you will always here invite members. Okay. So I'll use any email, any kind of email. For instance, if I'm adding somebody, okay, I'm adding Iftikhar or Sarah. I'll add your email because email is always required for anybody in order to screen them ना. तो ये है कि यहाँ पे you will always put email here. ठीक है, यहाँ पे email add करेंगे. You will choose any role. For instance, you always use reviewer here. Okay, choose reviewer and then just invite them. It's so simple. You just require email. Okay, if you have email, you're good to go with this training. Just put it here, email and the reviewer's role, and then invite. Okay, simple. It's simple. So for instance, if somebody has, let's assume if somebody has added me, you'll get an email that somebody has added you for screening on Rayyan. You will go to that email and then you'll start a screening process. So it's so simple. For instance, somebody has added me into the Rayyan because they want me to screen the articles. Okay, so I'll go here, I'll check what is the topic name, for instance. Okay, and how many articles are there. If there are any duplicates, I'll resolve them. Okay, uh, and then for instance, I added all those persons. Okay, I created this Rayyan account, and then I created this specially meta-analysis. So I was the owner and I added other persons who were reviewer basically, and they all reviewed. Okay, so now what's the next step? I hope everyone's getting it. If not, please let me know. Okay, so it's so simple to upload all the articles on the Rayyan. So you have put the search strategy in here, and then you will see how many number of articles are there. You will definitely not put all the articles. For instance, if I'm seeing all the, if there are in lakhs, ठीक है, लाखों में number of articles, I'll definitely not, I'll revise my search strategy. Just make the search strategy so suitable that the number doesn't cross more than lakh or like this. I usually keep the number between 500 and 2000 or maybe 2500, but please keep it just simple. Okay, and then you simply upload all the articles like send to, and you have the option citation manager. Okay, and after citation manager, you'll always opt the option this all results, and then you'll create file. The file will be automatically downloaded here. You'll go to Rayyan and upload your file here. It's so simple. If still somebody has an issue, just let me know. Okay, you guys have 2 minutes to absorb all this. Okay, proceeding further. So you can see there are multiple options here. There is an overview that what is your overview, what is your review title, how many articles were uploaded into Rayyan, and how many persons were added in the Rayyan, and what is your progress here. You will just scroll down, and you'll see if you want to make the inclusion criteria, you can make. Simply for instance, my inclusion criteria was I'll I was just using all the RCTs, okay, all the original studies basically, including all the randomized control trials, the other clinical trials, cohorts studies, case controls, and cross sections. Because these are all original studies, I was just including all kind of studies in my research, and the articles must be published in English. All the articles published in other language, for instance in Chinese or any other Russian language, I'll just exclude them. Okay, so I have just made. If you do not want to make an inclusion or exclusion criteria here, just skip it. Okay, and then you can always see your progress here. Okay, how many articles have you screened, how many articles you have excluded, you have included, or you have like which you cannot decide. For instance, you have put the article in maybe section. Okay, so you can always check your progress. One thing, because whenever you upload a new article or upload a new, not the article, a new meta-analysis or research project into Rayyan, you'll always see here blind off. Okay, blind on, sorry, it's always initially blind on, because nobody can see your progress and neither you can do. Okay, for instance, if I can see only my progress, that how many articles I have excluded or how many articles I have put into maybe section or into included section, but I can never check anyone others, like how many they have. I can only check how many, like for instance, how many percentage they have done. Okay, for instance, 37%, 100%, like what percentage. For instance, I have done 23%. I have spent 23% of articles, and okay, and then I can see, but I can never see if blind is on. I can never see how many articles they have included or what specific articles they have included or excluded until blind is off. Okay, and the owner has only author has only owner has authority that he can blind off anytime, turn the blind off. Okay, so initially it is blind on, because nobody can see anyone's progress. Okay, so for instance, if I'm doing a screening, I'll just scroll up, and then you can see multiple options here. Overview, there is a review data, and there's screening, full text screening, and data extraction. Okay, we just always use this, basically this and the third one, okay, for our screening process. So you'll go to option third, screening. Okay, you can see here. There's overview, review data, and screening. For instance, okay, now you can see here it is automatically selected undecided. For instance, this is a new. You'll always go to the option A, that is all articles. Okay, for instance, all number of articles were 486. I'll click it, and just let's assume these aren't screened yet. Okay, for instance, so for instance, now you can, because you can, you will add different people for screening. You'll just go here, what I recommend other people in order. रयान पे एक मसला होता है. There is a simple issue in Rayyan, because if for instance there are 478 articles, I cannot directly jump into 478, 478 or 477. I just have to all the way scroll down. So it is so much time in a screening. So just do always one thing, that always whenever you screen, go to all articles. Okay, you have to go there, not here. It's automatically chosen undecided. So go to all articles. Okay, and then there's the option sort. You'll click it, and then there's some authors do sort the articles according to the publication date, like depending upon how many years were added, for instance. But I always recommend go to title, okay, title, and then next option is, for instance, go to A to Z. This is what I do. You can do anything. Like you can go for publication date and then arrange the articles accordingly. For instance, 2000, 2013 or whatever. But I just, in order to simplify here, just go to all articles and then sort it out. Go to title and then this will appear. Go to A to Z. This is way too simple. Okay, for instance, now the articles are arranged in the order of A to Z. Look, it's A, okay? All articles are A. So whenever the person will screen, they'll always choose us again and again. They'll always choose it. Okay, for instance, if I have four persons screening this, okay? So what I'll do is I'll ask them, for instance, there's Ahmed. I'll ask Ahmed to screen the articles from 1 to 200, for instance, okay? And I'll ask Shiri, okay, screen articles from 1 to 200. Look, there is a one rule in the Rayyan or whatever is screening that one article must be screened by two people. Okay, अगर एक ही screen करेगा, it's possible कि he'll include or exclude. We will never know at the end. So if there are two persons doing, or maybe two or more, it's better two or more. So जब भी क्या करेंगे, screen करेंगे. So if Asad is excluding this article and Muhammad is excluding this article, this will make sure कि भाई सही स्क्रीनिंग हुई है और दोनों ने एक्सक्लूड किया है. फॉर इंस्टेंस, इफ असद इज एक्सक्लूडिंग एंड मोहम्मद इज इंक्लूडिंग इट, this article will go into conflict, and the owner or the person who is doing secondary screening will know that there is a conflict, and he or she will resolve that conflict later. Okay, so this is okay. So this is known as primary screening. Okay, what is primary screening? You just see the simple the abstract or the title. You'll just go to title, or you'll just review the abstract, and you'll get to know, okay, either you should include the article or exclude it. Okay, so for instance, if I'm doing a screening of this first article, okay, so for instance, what was my topic? uh, we'll just this is my topic, right? An updated analysis comparing transcatheter aortic valve replacement outcome in diabetic versus non-diabetic patients. Now see, my comparison is diabetic versus non-diabetic patients, okay? And my intervention is transcatheter aortic valve replacement, right? So and outcomes could be any, like death, mortality, whatever outcomes could be any. So if this was my PICO, this was my search strategy. So using this search strategy, can you know that, can you include this or exclude this? Because this is completely different. It says abdominal catastrophe and infective endocarditis. We cannot include this because it's completely different. It cannot even include the transcatheter aortic valve replacement. It nothing says like this. Okay, so if you go to title, you'll never include it. Okay, or if you are still confused, you'll always go for abstract. So it's simple. You can include exclude it. Okay, so there's option. This is for include, this is for maybe. If you are confused and you cannot decide that either whether you should include the article or you should exclude the article, you always go for this option, maybe. Okay, if you are sure, okay, you should exclude it, you'll definitely go for this option. If you want to add comments, you'll always add comments here. That's why you are excluding it, why you are considering this, or whatever you have comments in mind, you can add here, and the next person will see later. Okay, when blind is turned off. So for instance, if I'm excluding this article, I'll just choose exclude. Okay, simply. Or if you just, you can type E in keyboard to exclude any article. Okay, for instance, this article. So uh, oh, If, for instance, this is the next article, I have screened this article, I just excluded this articles, okay, by just excluding it, okay, and the next article will automatically open. Now, for instance, this is the article, a case of aortic dissection with transient ST segment elevation due to function left main coronary artery obstruction. Now, by just knowing the title of any article, you'll just know, okay, whether you should include or exclude. Now, I research project never includes this ST segment elevation, never includes left main coronary artery obstruction. So if you, so you'll simply exclude it. But still, if you are confused that whether I don't know if I should go for this or not, you'll just learn the abstract. Okay, you'll go for abstract. For instance, if you are, you'll always go for methods. If there are methods, if no, you have to completely go through the abstract in order to confirm that you should include the article or not. Okay. um, One thing more, that always there's a publication type, because we were excluding the case reports, right? So you'll always exclude this case report. We were including case controls but not case reports. So if, for instance, if you're if you're sure that this article must be included by knowing the title, and if you have reviewed the abstract, you are sure you should go for the inclusion, na? But if you are seeing the case reports, obviously we are excluding the case reports and not including. You'll again go for excluding, even though your abstract and your title is matching with your PICO, but still you'll go for exclusion, because this is a case report and we are excluding it. Okay, so you'll exclude it simply, and the next article would automatically appear here. So, so for instance, for a third, this is acute coronary syndrome. Now check it. It says transcatheter aortic valve replacement. Yeah, our PICO was, yeah, it's some kind of matching, but acute coronary syndrome, no, we weren't considering it, right? And you are, if still not confirmed, go for abstract. Do not just uh, learn this. Now go to method section. Okay, now you cannot decide completely by just reading the title or the abstract. If you are still confused, you'll go to, for instance, if I'm confused about this article, for instance, let's assume, okay, if I know, okay, whether should I include this or not, I have just read the title, and if I'm still confused, I have read the methods and results section of this abstract, I'm still confused, you'll just open the full text article, because the link is always given here. You'll just click the link and automatically it will open into the PubMed. Okay, now you'll read here all the abstract, and if it's available, you'll just open it, and then you'll read the whole article there. Okay, and then you can easily decide whether you should include or not. If you are still confused, just go to Rayyan again and just put this article into maybe section. Okay, for instance, if I'm confused, I'll just put it into maybe section. Okay, fine. And then just next article will appear automatically. For instance, this is simply this is simple. You can just judge the article by its title. Okay, for instance, this is Atlas with Ecology of Felt. Obviously, I cannot include this article because my PICO and my search studies is completely different from this. So I'll just definitely exclude this. Okay, so simply exclude it, and next article will automatically appear. So that's how primary screening is done. Okay, now this is primary screening. Okay, you'll just go through all the articles, the number of articles you have given. So you'll go through all articles. For instance, if they were doing screening, primary screening, Hafsa has included it, but Muhammad and Tayyaba have excluded it, and Munazza, for instance, one of the reviewer was confused and she couldn't decide whether you should include this article or not. So she had put the article into maybe section. This is orange, okay, right? This is maybe section. So this is how primary screening is done. So you have all the options here. This is the title, this is the abstract, and you have the methods here. You can just go through the methods and all the results and decide whether you should include this or not. Okay, and then you have to scroll down, just check the publication type, whether it is meta-analysis, what is this, you can just decide. Okay, if this is not an original study and you are excluding all the studies other than original studies, you'll just exclude it simply. Okay, And then here is a link given to you whenever you are confused, and if you want any full text article of this, just copy paste this, or you just simply click this, the next article will automatically appear here, right? For instance, if I was confused, I'll just read here. If access isn't given, you can just ask. Okay, back to Ryan. And then my criteria was inclusion criteria was that I was including all the articles in English and was excluding the articles published other than in English. Right. So here's in English language. Yeah, this was my criteria. This is a link given. Everything is here. Okay, this is include. You can just simply type I in the keyboard or simply just click it. Okay, this is maybe, and this is, for instance, the articles which I have put into maybe will automatically go here. Okay, so the person who is doing full text screening, or known as the secondary screening, will just go here. Now all the articles were uploaded here. 46, 33 conflicts were there among people. Okay, and 8 articles were not decided. Okay, they were not screened, and 403 articles were excluded. Okay, by everybody. And maybe there were 43 articles, and maybe because they were confused, they couldn't decide whether they include or exclude. Okay, and there are only 15 articles in include. Okay, all the articles which were not included by all, or which were not excluded by all, will automatically will go into the conflict section. Here is conflict section. Okay, so here are all articles: conflict, undecided, exclude all. Now you'll go to conflict. The person who is doing the full text screening, okay, or the secondary screening, will go here and resolve all these conflicts. They must be addressed basically. Okay, so for instance, this was the title, and this study was included by the two reviewers, Hafsa and Munazza, and the person, and like, for instance, if I'm doing secondary screening, or for instance, if I'm not doing secondary screening, or I'm just screening simply the by the title and the abstract. Okay, and I have excluded, this article will automatically go into conflict section, because there's a conflict among us now. Somebody has included, somebody has excluded. Okay, so the third reviewer, or the person who is doing secondary analysis or secondary screening, will decide, okay, whether they should include this or exclude this. Okay, now the person doing secondary screening will definitely go to the title first, and he or she will read all through the abstract, and he or she will go to the link. He'll she open the link, and he'll decide whether to include or exclude the study. Okay, now similar with these all articles. Okay, and as I said, you can always comment. For instance, I have commented that no diabetes versus non-diabetes, there was no comparison between them, so I have just commented because I have excluded this study because there was no comparison between them. So yeah, you can comment on this, you can include, you can maybe put the articles on maybe, and you can exclude anytime. Okay, so this is how primary screening is done. Okay, if you're still confused in any of the step of primary screening, you can ask me. It's just overview. Okay, you just have your research project in here. Okay, you have all the articles here which you have uploaded from the PubMed. Okay, and if you want invite other members too, you can always invite here just by putting their emails here. Okay, and you can always check your progress, you can check others progress. Okay, so um, if everybody has screened their articles. Okay, if everybody has screened their articles by going here and sorting all the articles, and then what they'll do is simply turn the blind off. Okay, it just simply turn the blind on. Only the owner or the one who has met the Rayyan can do it. Okay, for instance, blind on, by turning the blind on, nobody can see my progress, neither can I. Okay, if I do blind off, turn the blind off. Now I'll see how many articles were excluded, how many articles were included, and how many articles were in conflict section. Okay, So yeah. Okay. Articles. Sure. If the person is doing full text screening, okay, this is how primary screening is done. Or you can say by just going through the title and the abstract, you can just decide to include this or exclude it. The person who is doing the secondary screening, or known as a full text screening, will go to the conflict section. He or she will resolve the conflicts first, will resolve the maybe first, and then he'll proceed to secondary screening by going through all the included articles. Okay, so it's so simple. Rayyan is simple to use. Um, okay, so this is for PubMed. Okay, I hope nobody has any issue. If anybody has issue or anybody has any query, just let me ask. Uh, you ask. I'll request everybody to go to Rayyan and just make search strategy and then upload any articles. Try to upload articles now. Okay, so everybody, you have a task that if we are comparing, like what Dr. Eftekar said, if we are comparing steroids versus cyclophosphamide in nephritic patients, so how the search strategy will be made? Can anybody share it? Like everybody should share it in the comment section. Abdul Moiz, just make a search strategy of like PICO is patient population is the patients who are suffering from nephritic patients, the nephropathy. Okay, and you are comparing the drug cyclophosphamide, and the comparison is steroids. You have to make a search strategy of that. Okay, and just put that search strategy into PubMed and let me know the number of articles appearing on the PubMed. You guys have 5 minutes to make the search strategy. I'm again repeating, the patient population is nephritic patients. Okay, the people who are suffering from nephritis basically, and the intervention is cyclophosphamide. The control is steroids, and outcome could be any, like chronic kidney failure, acute kidney failure, death, mortality could be any. Okay, Muhammad Hamza, which type of study designs studies can be included in meta-analysis? Basically, usually people prefer that uh, only the clinical trials or the randomized control trials should be included, because obviously randomized control trials are worth more than other original studies. Okay, so if you are doing a meta-analysis, you should prefer the RCTs, all the clinical trials. Okay, But you can always consider all the original studies. What original studies mean? Like randomized control trials, the clinical trials, and the cohorts, the case controls, not the case reports. Okay, case controls and the cross-sectional studies. These all are original studies. You can always include all the original studies into meta-analysis, but the preferred one are always randomized control trials. Intervention is cyclophosphamide, DIBA. Hashmat, they are always option in other databases to export them. It's simply sometimes it's written in export, sometimes sent to. It's so easy. Just learn for PubMed for now. Okay, we do not prefer to export the articles from the Google Scholar because there are millions of articles in Google Scholar, so it's not recommended. But still, if you can do export all the articles from the Google Scholar. It's so simple. Okay, Umar Farooq, very good. 352 articles. What else? Everybody, please send your numbers here. And also share your search strategies, guys. Ali Nawaz is saying, asking if somebody hasn't access, so what to do? Exclude close ones? No, no, do not exclude them because just because you don't have access doesn't mean the studies are excluded. Just ask them because we have a group IRC, mashallah, and the peoples are so supportive, especially Sarah. She always provide all the full text articles. So just ask in the group and they'll provide. But just do not exclude based on the close access. Hushbakt, very good. I would say always use brackets if you are using or and end. Okay. Uh, Muhammad Hamza, meta-analysis never requires ethical approval. Okay, because you are never directly dealing with the patients directly. Okay, you are not intervening in the patients. Okay, so whenever you intervene with the patients, for instance, in randomized controlled trials, or for instance, in the case reports or whatever, you will need ethical approval. But for meta-analysis, no, you never require ethical approval. Okay, so the steps of meta-analysis are you'll, for instance, you'll choose a topic, you'll decide a topic. If there are enough randomized controlled trials or enough original studies in that topic, and if the recent meta-analysis on that topic it has already not been published, you are good to go. Okay, you'll search the randomized controlled trials. For instance, we have this topic. Okay, and I'll apply filters first. I'll apply filters of clinical trials and the randomized control trials, and I'll check how many randomized control trials are available. Okay, after confirming the availability, if for instance three or more than clinical trials are available, you are good to proceed. Okay, and then you'll go to meta-analysis option and you'll check whether meta-analysis recent meta-analysis has been done or not. If not, you can easily proceed with that. If yes, then you'll check the year of the published meta-analysis. Okay, if for instance, if meta-analysis is published in back in 2019 and three or more than three articles are published after this meta-analysis, you'll proceed. Okay, you'll update this meta-analysis. If no meta-analysis on this topic has ever been done, you'll definitely do this meta-analysis, which is the original meta-analysis. Okay, So you can always do original meta-analysis if meta-analysis has never been done on that topic. And if it is done, you'll check the year of publication. And if there are enough RCTs to update this, you'll go for updated meta-analysis. Okay. And then obviously, if you're good to go with the topic, you'll make a search strategy and then follow all the steps which I have taught you guys. Okay, just put the search strategy in here, check the number of articles. You can always get the help from ChatGPT. Okay, but do not completely rely on it, please. Okay, there are 513 articles. You'll go to send to option, go to citation manager. Okay, and then not on this page, you'll always opt to this option, all results. Okay, and then always create file. The file will be automatically downloaded here. Just go to Rayyan and upload there. Okay. Okay. Omar Farouk, 95 number of articles are way too less because, even the journals make issue of that because 95 number of articles are too less. Go for elaboration of this number. Okay, just revise your search strategy and expand these numbers like 95. Even 2471 results are good. Batul. No, I never said that 500 is good number and why not 1000, 2000. Every number is a good number, but do not exceed like more than like in lakhs or millions because obviously you cannot spin all the articles in millions. Okay, so you have to just keep the number very not very specific, but in between, like go for above maybe 400, maybe 500 or more. Just keep it in a number which you can screen actually. Even I have screened more than 6,000 articles. Okay, so numbers are never specific, but still try to keep it uh, minimized so you can screen them easily. Okay, just but always make a search strategy very proper. Okay, if search strategy is not made very proper, you will just end up messing everything. Okay, Nazia, 1,03,000 articles are way too. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 1,03,000 articles are way too more. So try to keep it like low. There is no ideal number. Exactly. The PubMed filters are never reliable. So whenever I put all the search strategy into PubMed, I never apply filter. Yeah, but if you are just checking, just you are just selecting a topic and you are checking, uh, for instance, if you are confused, if you whether you are confused, either you should go for this topic or not, and you are checking that if enough arteries are there to do a meta-analysis on this topic or not, you can then apply filter. But for in order to screen the articles for primary and secondary screening, do not apply filters here. Okay, but yeah, if I'm checking how many articles are available, how many meta-analysis are available, just go to this option or avail these options and you can just end up getting you one. Yeah, Malaika, while extracting articles from PubMed, we do not use any filter. You can use filter, but it is not recommended to use any kind of filter because these are not reliable. Janita, when you upload 500, there were only 482 articles in Ryan advice actually. So no, the search strategy was different. I couldn't get that exactly search string like for which 42 articles were appearing. I just have made search strategy just now, and 500 something articles are appearing. So yeah, that's the issue. Otherwise, the same number of articles will appear into Rayyan, which you have already made for search string. Okay. Yeah, 1612 is good, Amina. Why to not put filter? Because I said filters are not that reliable in Rayyan. You can always use filter, but it is not recommended. What else? What's a good limit for the article numbers? Just I guess I would recommend more than 500 and try to keep it less than 10,000 at least, or less than 5,000 in order if you can screen those numbers too. Yeah, try to use all the synonyms in the search string. Yes, one for 1,500 for two results is good. Yeah, it's easy to screen. Yep. Depending upon the search string you have made and the number of persons you have for screening purpose. Screening is a very basic and very easy part for any meta-analysis. Yeah, Pradeep, it's fine if you got 526 articles. We shall just revise your search string. 37 is too low. Pradeep, sometimes we get too less number despite of excellent search string. What should we do then? Just try to maximize the synonyms or try to revise your search string, but still you are getting less number of articles. You can always get the help of ChatGPT, uh, or try to use as many synonyms as you can, or try sometimes if we use many synonyms the number are still less, so try to remove the extra ones or remove the ones which are too specific for the disease or too specific for the intervention, so try to remove them as well. So just revise it. Okay, revise your search string by adding something, by removing something, you'll end up getting the target number of articles. Yeah, Malaika, it's good. 154 articles are good. Jannat, try revising your search strategy. You'll definitely get the number of articles. Sometimes you get the number of articles in millions just because you have used terms which are too way too common, because there are millions of studies done daily. Okay, so for instance, if you are like for instance nephritis or renal inflammation, or for instance steroid is way too common word for every research. Okay, many people use steroids like in every single study. So if try removing those words which are too non-specific, which are too way too common. For instance, if steroid is not my comparison, or if steroid is my side word.
Okay, so we were on Q&A session, right? I was answering as well. So the last question I seen was probably because of mash terms, right? You guys were creating mash terms, right? So I was asking to Zaim as well. So as narrow or as many terms you're going to use in your mash, you're going to get more and more results. And the results are going to narrow down and become more specific depending upon your mash terms. So I also wanted to teach you guys that if you're not going to know how to create mash terms, you're never going to know how to do research at all. Once you can, once you have made your search string, you can take help of AI as well. You can ask AI to expand it for you, and AI is going to do a wonderful job for you. You can use that search string to further narrow down whatever you are searching for your PICO. Are you getting it? Zabardast. So we have done through MASH, we have done through PubMed. Now, once you have all the articles on your PubMed, you're going to start your first initial screening. You're going to go through usually we only read out the articles headlines, okay? And we are like, अच्छा इसके अंदर diabetes mentioned है, इसके अंदर population adult ही है. This article seems relevant. We're going to click it, we're going to extract it, and we're going to put it into our file. And we will generate a file that will contain all the relevant articles that seems on PubMed, and we will then export it on our Rayyan, right? How many items of PICO should be included in the search string? All, everything. You cannot miss anything of your PICO. If you deviate from your PICO, you're going to deviate from your research, and your analysis or meta-analysis could not be run. After uploading all your articles on Rayyan, this is here where your primary screening starts. So, for example, we have Mariam, we have Inam, we have Abdul Muiz, and we have Maida, right? So I have total of 2000 articles I've uploaded on Rayyan. I will give Mariam to do 2000 for primary screening. I will ask Inam to do 2000 as well. I will ask Abdul Muiz to do 2000 as well. And I'll ask Maida to do exactly 2000 as well. Now, why I'm asking everyone to go through it? Because I want to reduce the chance of error. We do not want error to be in our analysis. If Inam includes an article without going through it, and Maida does not include that, it's going to create a conflict. So that is the conflict that I am going to, as a third independent researcher, resolve once everyone has done their primary screening. I will switch off the blind. I'll have all of your answers stored on Rayyan, which will show me that Maida included this, Zain did not, Bilal did include. I'll ask Maida what were your criteria for inclusion. I'll ask Zain what was your criteria for exclusion. And I'll check my PICO if it fits or not. And I'll resolve that conflict and include that study or exclude that study based on the decision, which would be a mutual decision. Perfect. Now we have done primary screening. The next screening is the secondary screening, or also known as full text screening. In full text screening, I will again divide all the articles amongst the screener and ask them to first upload the full text of all these articles. Full text screening allows us to go deeper into all the articles. It allows us to go through their methodology. It allows us to go through its results. It gives us all the hindsight if whether this article is a new research or whether it fits a PICO or not. Is a PICO the mesh term criteria? PICO is the study that you are going to conduct. PICO is the population, PICO is the intervention, PICO is the control, PICO is the outcome. These are the four set criteria that decides what you are looking out into your research. Janita, just think of a population and give me a population. What age group are you? Janita, I'm hoping you're an adult. Let's say if you're an adult. Yes, Janita is an adult. Thank you. Right. So next, Dr. Naila, can you tell me of anything that you like to do? Any activity that you've recently started? Let's make it something nice and interesting so that everybody can remember what exactly PICO is. You don't have to go through any pharma related topic or RCTs. We're just understanding the core basic concept right now. So, Janita, what is Runaila? Yes, Dr. Naila, can you tell me anything interesting, or Janita, can you tell me anything interesting that you have recently started out? Video editing. Okay, now this is getting interesting. We have our population, we have our intervention. Okay. We need a control. So who are the boring people who does not know video editing at all? That's me, probably. Right. researchers. Okay, we can have a control. Oldies. Yeah, thank you. That's me, right? Oldies. And what are the possible outcomes that we are looking for? So, what is the thing that we get out of video editing? We get what can we get out of video editing? Money. Good job. So let's say that we are looking in a population of adult people who recently started using video editing, but we need to be very specific about our intervention because video editing is very broad. So we cannot go for a broad term. We need something narrow. So let's say any new tool that new video editor are using. Is there any new tool that have recently been launched about video editing? CapCut. Okay, I don't know. Look, I am an oldie. I don't know what this CapCut is. Okay, so the people, adult population who use CapCut to do video editing, and the people who are oldies or the people who do not use CapCut but use other means such as what I remember TikTok being one of the video editor, if it's that or not, I don't know. So let's just say TikTok. So we are comparing the population of adult people who use CapCut and population of adult who are using TikTokers to use video editing, and we're looking at the possible monetary benefit that they are both making, and we're comparing them and publishing a result on it. So this is my PICO. I have now inserted all the relevant synonym mash terms on my PubMed that are related to video editing, that are related to TikTok, that are related to CapCut. Okay, I will get all the articles that are relevant to it on my PubMed, and now I'm going to upload them on. Where I'm going to upload those articles? Come on, people, where I'm going to upload all those articles? Ryan, excellent, very good हमजा. PubMed से तो हम articles लेंगे, ठीक है? और Ryan पे हम डालेंगे क्योंकि हमने articles ले लिए. Now we need to do screening. So on Ryan, I'm going to ask all the people that are part of my research, that are part of my group, to go through their screening and see if the relevant articles that we have extracted from PubMed fits our PICO. I will go through the primary screening. I will include and exclude all those articles that are not relevant, and then I'll go for the secondary screening, which is a full text screening. Full text screening will allow me to look into the further detail of whether the typo fits or not in my methodology section. Got it? So my methodology section is going to allow me further details of each articles, what methodology was used, what was the population that was used, what was the intervention that was used. If any article that does not seem to fit CapCut, or if it does not seem to fit adult, it seems to fit population of pediatric, I'm going to exclude that article. The remaining bunch of the articles after secondary screening are the articles that are going to be included into our study. Does this make sense? It is going to be even more clear once you start doing any research, because this is something that you are just learning right now, and it takes immense amount of time, immense amount of persistence to actually learn this craft. So what is conflict? As I mentioned, so conflict is anything when two independent researchers decide differently on an article. They get two different results. One decides to include and one decides to exclude. So this is a conflict. झगड़ा है भाई वो एक कह रहा है कि इसको include करना है और दूसरा कह रहा है इसको exclude करना है तो तीसरा बंदा सोचेगा ना कि अब क्या करना है तो that person, the third independent researcher, is the one who is going to resolve the conflict and is going to ask the person who included कि आपने include क्यों किया और दूसरे बंदे से पूछेगा कि आपने exclude क्यों किया. And they're going to go through the PICO and see the relevance of their reasoning and decide mutually whether to include or exclude that article.
So we were talking about primary screenings. Okay, so what is primary screening? You all know well now. Okay, so primary screening is just you have to read the title and you have to go through the abstract and decide whether to include that article for your research project or to exclude the article. And if still you are confused, you can always opt the option of maybe. Okay, and then the person who are doing primary screening will screen all the articles all the way, like if there are 470 articles they have to screen all the articles, okay, in order to decide कि आपने आखिर में कौन कौन से डालने हैं, ठीक है. The persons, if the persons have decided to include or exclude articles, the third reviewer, okay, the person who is doing full text screening will now resolve the conflicts, whether to will resolve the conflicts. Okay, if somebody is like confused, okay, whether they should include articles, exclude articles, and they are like fighting, like literally, कि ठीक है, जैसे सफा ने कहा कि if they are still confused, the third reviewer will decide according to the PICO. In order कि जो PICO बनता है उस हिसाब से they'll decide whether to include or exclude the article, okay, by reading their full text articles. Okay, so for instance, um, if primary screening is done, now it's time to proceed to secondary screening or full text screening. I always recommend do not use this full text screening option or the data extraction option of the Rayyan. Just do the full text screening. Like for instance, if I have included 15 articles, okay, so there were 15 articles included, okay, and then the person will go to every article, every included article, the link of every included article, and he or she will decide whether to include finally that article or not in order to extract the data from that study. Okay, so for instance, if there are 15 studies and the reviewer has decided finally to include all those 15 studies, or if for instance if he has decided to exclude those two studies and include all 13 studies, okay, and 13 finally studies are they are decided to proceed for extraction. Now in order कि वो full text screening करे, for instance if there are two groups, now how full text screening is done, how for instance if there are always two groups, okay, they'll go to each article, like they'll open all the articles, okay, like they'll open full text article. Now it's not about only the title or the abstract, it's about whole manuscript now. Okay, then he or she'll scroll down, she will read all the methods, like is this study fit for inclusion or exclusion. If it meets the criteria of inclusion, or he or she will definitely include the study, okay, and then okay, so how it's done, like you'll study whole methods, like till here, okay. For instance, if this is a study I want to work on, he or she will go through all the methods, okay, after reading all the methods. If it fits, you'll always scroll down and check the tables first, okay, because there are two or more tables depending upon the study you are doing. For instance, if I'm doing meta-analysis on this topic, there is always a table one which is a baseline table. Baseline includes all the parameters or all the variables, like common in all people na? For instance, age is a basic parameter, okay, sex or gender is a basic parameter, BMI or the co-mobs condition they have, for instance hypertension, diabetes, any coronary artery disease or other co-mobs they may have, okay, so they are baseline characters. Baseline characters are those which are before the intervention, okay. For instance, if intervention is not being done or not being given, so these are the parameters. For instance, if they were suffering from CKD or not, if they were having hypertension or diabetes or not. So these parameters are before the intervention. Okay, and then they'll check after giving intervention that what were the effect of the intervention on these outcomes, on these parameters. Okay, so these are all the baseline characteristics. This is the simple table one. For instance, if this is another study and not the TAVR. Okay, this was comparing left bundle branch versus right bundle branch. Okay, so these were the parameters of the study and these were the baseline characteristics. Like okay, these are common ones: age, gender, BMI, and the comorbid conditions they may have. Okay, for instance, they were just trying to see if there were any effects of those two populations on the left ventricular ejection fraction or left ventricular end diastolic diameter. Okay, or if the patients were having LBB before or RBB before. These are just left bundle branch block and right bundle branch block. Okay, if I'm to decide that whether this study should be finally included or not for extraction, so always check table 1 and table 2 and more tables if the study is giving. Okay, for instance, just check whether this is directly comparing, like this is called head to head comparison. If the study is directly comparing like RVP, for instance, if my intervention was RVP and what my comparison was LBPAP, these are basically just procedures done in heart failure. Okay, so if they are comparing head to head, there's head to head comparison, you are mildly good to go. Okay, and then you are deciding yes, there is a proper comparison between them. Okay, and then you just check the parameters. Okay, then you have to go through all the parameters in all the studies as well, the one you are included already. Okay, and go to table 2. Now this is basically, sometimes this is all sometimes this is baseline and sometimes it's out for outcome too, but here it's for outcome basically. So okay, what was for instance, if we are just seeing what was the axis, and I have to note it down. What I recommend people that if you are seeing common outcomes among the studies, note it down. Okay, in any paper, any notebook, wherever you want feasible, but just note it down because common outcomes must be there in order to proceed for extraction. If there are no common outcomes, you cannot proceed for extraction. You'll waste time only. Okay, so for instance, I found transfural axis. Okay, just note it down. And for instance, if you are seeing a pre-dilation, post-dilation, and the left, especially this left ventricular ejection fraction, and what were the outcomes like major bleeding, major vascular complications, you are checking head-to-head comparison between them. Okay, now note down all the common outcomes among the studies. Okay, so okay, for instance, if this is my first study, just go to the second study. Okay, just open the second PDF and exactly go through these all the parameters and all the outcomes. If there are common outcomes, you can just you are just sure to proceed for screening for extraction basically. Okay, if there are, for instance, if I have a study and no outcome of interest are reported in the study, so then I have to decide whether to exclude or include this, because if there is no single common outcome, I may have to leave the study behind. Okay, and then I just proceed without a study, because if there is no outcome, what will I do in analysis? Okay, for in order to for analysis to done, you'll always require outcomes. ठीक है, एक आउटकम शीट बनती है ना, अगर आपके पास आउटकम शीट ही नहीं है, मतलब आउटकम शीट है लेकिन एक स्टडी है जिसने कोई भी आउटकम मेंशन नहीं किया, ओके, इफ देयर इज वन स्टडी, तो फिर यू हैव टू एक्सक्लूड द स्टडी ना, क्योंकि बिकॉज देयर इज नो आउटकम, basically analysis is done on outcomes. Okay, baseline characteristics doesn't matter when come to analysis. ठीक है, इनकी टेबल 1 बनता है. So table 1 is made of this baseline character, and table 2, this is for outcomes. And if there is no outcome of interest, you might not proceed for analysis. Okay, so analysis is solely depend on the outcomes of. Okay, so kindly, whenever you go to the study, note the common outcomes among the studies. If there are enough outcomes, even if single outcome is there, single outcome, you can proceed for it. But if there are more outcomes, you're good to go. Okay. This is how secondary screening is done. In order for secondary screening to be done, you have to go through the whole article, including all the tables, the method section, and also supplementary files as well. Supplementary files are usually given at the end of the study. Okay, sometimes here given and sometimes in the start of study. So you have to go to supplementary files also. ठीक है, कभी कभी क्या होता है कि यहाँ पे methods में mention नहीं होता. ठीक है, there is like lack of data in the tables and in the tables as well as in the method section. So you have to go for supplementary files. Supplementary files are always given at the very end of the study or start of study. Okay, and you'll always need access for supplementary files also if the study is closed access. Okay. This is how secondary screening is done. Just always go for tables. Okay, if you cannot find tables, find in the supplementary file. Still you cannot find tables in supplementary files also, just go for the manuscripts. कभी कभी यहाँ पे outcomes लिखे होते हैं, वो table पे mention बिल्कुल नहीं करते. So you have to look for those outcomes in here. Okay, like sometimes they write outcomes here and they do not mention those outcomes in the table. So you have to be very careful in secondary screening or the full text screening in order for a study to be included or excluded. Okay, if you have to be very careful. अगर आपने वो चीज miss कर दी, you might end up excluding the study which should be included. Okay, so this is the thing. So this was the primary screening. Okay, you first of all, I'm just summarizing all of this now. If you have any query, just ask in the comment section. Okay, so what was our goal? If you're already decided any topic, okay, and if you are you are sure that you are good to go with the study and there are enough RCTs or clinical trials to proceed for any meta-analysis. If you either if you want to update a meta-analysis or you want to do a original meta-analysis, that is OG meta-analysis. Okay, so just make a search strategy. Okay, if you cannot elaborate your search strategy, try to get help from ChatGPT or any AI tool. Okay, it will definitely help you. Just make a proper search strategy. Okay, just copy the search strategy and put this into Rayyan. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Put this into PubMed and check how many number of articles are appearing. Okay, depending upon, do not apply any kind of filters over here. You can apply, but still I will recommend do not apply. Okay, check how many numbers of articles are appearing. Okay, and then there are three options here. Just send to, and then there's fourth option, citation manager. Go to citation manager, just click on this. Okay, the second option, all results, and then create a file. The file will be automatically downloaded here. Just go to Rayyan and upload here. Okay, and then start spinning. If you want to add people, you can always add people in here. Okay, and then yeah, after doing title review and abstract review, you'll proceed for, there's always an option here for create a review. Just create a new review, put the title name here, invite people. They'll automatically get email that somebody or you have invited them for screening. They'll screen the articles, and after screening articles by just for primary screening by just reading their title or their abstract, and they'll end up including excluding articles, or maybe they'll end up putting the articles into maybe section. Okay, and the third reviewer who is doing the full text screening, or the maybe the owner itself, he or she'll turn off the blind. Okay, and then after turning off the blind, he or she will uh, you'll get to know that how many articles were excluded, included, or how many conflicts were there. Okay, and the third we will definitely resolve those conflicts and will do secondary screening the way I taught you. Okay, by checking the manuscript, by checking the tables. Table 1, which is baseline table, table 2, and more tables if there are. Okay, check the supplementary files too, and then if all the studies are included, for instance 15 articles are included or so, you have to go through all the articles independently. Okay, you have to go through every article's manuscript, every article's like tables and supplementary files in order to confirm whether this study should include or not. Secondary screening is not like primary screening, it's too hectic. Okay, so after doing secondary screening, or known as full text screening, you'll proceed for extraction basically. Okay, so yeah, if you have questions, just ask. Malaika, so in secondary screening, we should look for outcome only. Basically, as I told, that in order for analysis to be done, only outcomes are to be seen. Okay, but yeah, you should also see baseline characters, but not that. uh, आपने जो है ना बेसिकली फोकस जो करना होता है और आउटकम्स पे करना होता है, because if there's any missing data from baseline table, it's okay, it's fine, you can still include a study. But if there's no single outcome of interest in that study, you cannot include it na. So yeah. Fatma, in primary screening, aren't we essentially reading all the articles? No, in primary screening, you are just going through the titles and the abstracts basically. If you want to go through the study, yeah, just click the link and you'll get the article and you can read the article. But in order for primary screening to be done, you just have to go to the titles and the abstract of the studies. Screening through the other databases, it's so simple. Like for instance, there are almost similar options in Cochrane too. Yeah, you just have to make a search strategy for Cochrane and put all the articles into Cochrane and send to. There's always an option to send to Rayyan and then upload the articles and start screening. Oh, Javeria is saying, asking, for example, I'm working on cardiac complications for yeah, cardiac complications. So outcomes are myocarditis, long-term cardiovascular risk, thromboembolism. I'll check these outcomes in full screening. Yes, if you have set those outcomes, okay, you are looking for these outcomes in your studies, in your project, then yeah, outcomes should be common among the studies. At least one outcome should be common. If there are no outcomes of interest, you'll exclude the study. How many articles of interest should we have? Ideally more than one, but if you have single outcome of interest, for instance death, and no other outcomes are in your PDF or full text string, you are still good to go. You can still include a study. Even if single outcome of interest is there, you can include it. Um, so all outcomes should be common different articles. We screen if so all the outcomes. Malaika, so all the outcomes should be common in different articles we screened, or if only one two outcomes. Yeah, outcomes should be common in among all the studies. Even if single outcome is there, you can still include the study. More are good. The more the outcomes, the more the good study is. But still, if you have only one outcome of interest is there, you are still good to go. You can still include the study. But yeah, if there's no single outcome of interest is there, for instance, if I'm saying myocarditis, middle branch block, death. For instance, if I'm looking for these three outcomes, if no outcome of interest is there in any study, I'll definitely exclude the study. How many and which databases we use? We definitely use PubMed, okay, PubMed, Cochrane, Scopus. We rarely use Google Scholar. I don't know about others, but I rarely use Google Scholar because there are millions of articles in Google Scholar. We cannot screen all those articles, so we would not recommend it. But yeah, uh, go for them. Web of Science. No, if no, you cannot exclude the article if you cannot get the full text of the study. um, you have to get them somewhere from somewhere. When I resolve duplicates, should I keep the article from PubMed or embed Cochrane? Usually in duplicates, there are similar articles. Even the date of publication is similar, same publication date. So you have to choose. It's okay. It's fine. If the article is same, it's fine to choose either from PubMed or embed or Cochrane. You're good to go with any one of them. Can we include articles if it is in different languages? Yeah, depending upon the criteria you have made. If you are including all the languages, you can include it. But still, we just prefer English language because obviously we can't understand the Chinese or Japanese. If anyone can, yeah, definitely he or she can include it. But yeah, you can include them. Do we have to add something more in inclusion criteria? Um, you can add like for instance, if you are doing including all the original studies, you have to make a strict criteria for original studies. You are including all the English languages. For instance, if you are excluding the studies for which only abstracts are available, because sometimes we just make only abstracts and not the full text. Okay, so you will definitely exclude the studies only for abstracts of which are only published. So full text is always required. So you'll exclude the articles for which abstracts is available and not the full text. Yes, Malaika, exactly. In primary screening, we only read abstracts and then decide to include or exclude the article. And yeah, we look for the population as well. You have to make a strict criteria for PICO. If you are, for instance, if you are including the diabetic patients, they should be diabetic. Okay, if they are not diabetic, you'll definitely exclude the study. Na? Similar with the intervention and uh, comparison as well. Okay, there should be head-to-head comparison. Okay, so if there's no head-to-head comparison, and for instance, there are three interventions there, or A versus B versus C, and some studies are comparing A versus C, and some are B versus C. So no, you'll not include them. There should be head-to-head comparison between the studies in order to them for them to be analyzed. Michelle, what is your question? I can see. Okay, Michelle is asking, will the secondary screening be only done on the articles we included in primary screening now? Yes. Okay, if the person who is doing secondary and secondary screening, or who is the third reviewer, if he or she wants to go through all the articles again, uh, so he or she can go for the whole articles again and screen by himself all the articles. But if he is confident that the persons who did the primary screening were good and they did right, so yeah, according to the articles they included, he or she will only check the articles included by the others, and then he or she will go to the full text of the articles and then decide whether finally to include or not excluded. Oh, yes, Jannat. We need to have common outcome among all the RCTs or all the original studies you have included, or all the RCTs you screened. Common outcomes should be there, even if it is only one. Sometimes someone is asking, sometimes one trial has 10 to 20 studies. Should I keep both? When trial subgroup analysis, always check their ICT number. there's a number. So if the number is same, the trial number is same. Okay, there's always a trial number given. If the number is same, you just have to choose only that study. Okay, if the trial numbers are different, you'll pick different studies, obviously. Javeria is asking, what do you mean by one common outcome? For example, cardiovascular risk to her study mein. For instance, if my outcome is mortality, okay, for instance, I am taking three outcomes. Okay, myocarditis, mortality, and left middle branch block. Okay, for instance, just assume this number. Okay, if for instance all the studies are reporting at least two outcomes, I'll include them. There are five studies which are including only one. For instance, am I audible, guys? Okay, okay. For
Yes,
for
yes.
instance, okay, if for instance, if five studies are reporting only one outcome, that is death, I can still include a study. But for instance, there are two studies which aren't uh, addressing any of the outcome of interest. For instance, no death, no myocarditis, no, and some other outcomes are reported which are not of my interest. Okay, so I'll definitely exclude them. And if they are even there's single outcome, I'll still include it. The trial number is written at the start of the study, at the mid of the study. You have to find it, or maybe simply you can Google it. Just do not waste your time finding the trial number. For just write, just type in the Google it, and it will show up.
All right, everyone. So that brings us to the end of today's session. First of all, a big thank you to Dr. Ghazal Ishaq for such an insightful session, and also Dr. Safa Nasir. Really appreciate your time and effort. And of course, thank you all for joining and for your questions and for being such an engaged audience. It's really great to see so many of you here today. And just a quick reminder that the recording of today's session will be uploaded on YouTube, so you can watch it again if you missed anything. And before we wrap up, I just wanted to give you a quick heads up about tomorrow's session. We'll be diving into the data extraction and outcome and meta-analysis. So you wouldn't want to miss that session, okay? Until then, take care. Allah Hafiz.